But first, the Australian Foreign Minister has hit out at the Labor Party here, saying she would find it, quote, very difficult to build trust, end quote, if Labor was in government. The Labor MP Chris Hipkins has found himself in the middle of a trans-Tasman row, high-volume one, after he asked parliamentary questions about citizenship following a conversation with the Australian Labor Party. It was revealed yesterday that Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce is the latest Australian politician to be caught out in the country's dual citizenship controversy after it was found out he holds New Zealand citizenship through his father, who was born here but went to Australia in 1947. This is a bizarre story, and it ain't getting any less so. Here's our political reporter, May Heron.
In an extraordinary news conference, Australia's Foreign Minister Julie Bishop told reporters she was sure the New Zealand Labor Party was involved in the Barnaby Joyce controversy.
Should there be a change of government, I would find it very hard to build trust with those involved in allegations designed to undermine the Government of Australia.
Yesterday, it was revealed Barnaby Joyce was a New Zealand citizen by descent, as his father was born in New Zealand. Australian politicians are not eligible to be elected to Parliament if they hold dual citizenship, a rule that has forced the resignation of 2 senators in recent weeks. Despite media inquiries being well underway before questions by Chris Hipkins were asked, Julie Bishop accused her country's opposition leader of playing a big role.
I'm referring to Bill Shorten using a foreign political party to raise questions in a foreign parliament deliberately designed to undermine confidence in the Australian government.
The stakes are high for Julie Bishop and her government. If Barnaby Joyce is deemed ineligible and kicked out of Parliament, the Australian government will lose its 1-seat majority, likely triggering an election. Foreign Minister Jerry Brownlee would not comment directly on the statement made by his Australian counterpart, but he had plenty to say about Labor and Chris Hipkins.
What I would say is it's extraordinary that a New Zealand Member of Parliament has allowed himself to be used by a party in a different country with an intent to bring another party in that country down. It's quite extraordinary. I just don't think we've seen anything like this before.
Chris Hipkins, who is also the shadow leader of the House, became involved in the controversy after he sent written questions to the Internal Affairs Minister. None of his questions named Barnaby Joyce and were instead general questions about New Zealand citizenship laws. Chris Hipkins said he did this after a discussion with a friend who worked with the Australian Labor Party. However, he insists his friend did not ask him to lodge the question and it was not related to Mr Joyce.
I was interested in understanding what the New Zealand law was, which is why I asked the written parliamentary question. I had no idea that it was going to have this particular impact on Australian domestic politics. Had I known that, I probably wouldn't have, because I frankly don't want to get involved in it.
The Rimutaka MP acknowledges the timing of his questions isn't great, but there is no wider conspiracy.
There has been absolutely no collusion between the New Zealand Labor Party and the Australian Labor Party when it comes to the situation the Australian Deputy Prime Minister finds himself in.
Earlier, Labor's leader Jacinda Ardern said she did not know about the questions at the time and they were inappropriate. She says Mr Hipkins exercised a lack of judgment.
Regardless of what instigated the question being asked, I'm very, very clear. We should not have asked the question. It was not a matter for us to resolve.
This afternoon, Ms Ardern released a statement saying Julie Bishop had chosen to make false claims about her party. She is now meeting the Australian High Commissioner to register her disappointment. From Parliament for Checkpoint, May Heron.